Going on, guys? Griffin here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Detroit Pistons and Blake Griffin in particular. Now, the Pistons have just got swept by the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, and of course it came very close to them not even making the playoffs whenever it was all done and said. Now, in this situation, obviously from the title you know the fact that I'm talking about the fact that why Blake Griffin might be traded this offseason. Now, as I mentioned, as far as the first two things that just happened, which is the fact that they were the very low 8th seed, barely making that, and then end up getting swept in the first round. Now, another key reason would have to be the fact that they are in very bad spots as far as salary cap and, of course, contract situations with their team. And as far as one thing that you could definitely put a good light on for the Detroit Pistons would be their move to get Blake Griffin. Now, he has, to me, 100% changed his game as far as from where he first started and had you could even argue one of his best years, at least offensively speaking, whenever we're talking about 24.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, around 5.5 assists per game, and shooting 36% from the three-point line and only 46% from the field. But whenever we really look at this is a huge improvement and a different style of play that he's playing with right now. Now, as I mentioned, with them being the 8th seed in the East, that puts them at having currently the 15th pick in the 2019 draft. Now, whenever we look at this, it's one situation to be in the middle of the pack when it comes down to this. And this leads me to the reasons why that Blake Griffin might get traded this offseason. And that is their team's position, being the 8th seed, being where you're going to be in the no man's land of not getting great draft picks, but then again, not attracting free agents, getting stars such as that. The salary cap, obviously they have no more room with the contracts that they have to add another great player. And right now, Blake Griffin's trade value is as high as it will possibly be with him being 30 years old and with his contract going to be on this major supermax contract. Now, possible destinations that I would take as key situations that could happen would be the Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And very much we have key reasons why I think the fact that all these teams are a possibility. Now, the number one reason for the Denver Nuggets I would have to put out here would have to be the fact that whenever you're looking at these three teams, you're going to be looking at things such as his ability to shoot threes, create his own shot, and create for others as a great passing big man, one of the best in the league. And if you have two of the best passing big men in the league with the Denver Nuggets and Jokic and Blake Griffin, I think the fact that adds up for a combination that we've never really seen before as far as something like that. And of course, them both being able to shoot the three-point ball, being able to spread the floor 1 through 5. Now, as far as that, obviously all three of these teams that I mentioned have the possibility as far as the assets to be able to trade for players such as Blake Griffin, especially like I mentioned what the Detroit Pistons need out of this trade, which would have to be draft picks, or at least young talent at that. Now, obviously, whenever we rank around what happens, I think the Denver Nuggets have the best chances of actually being able to acquire Blake Griffin, but the question is whether or not they're willing to actually make that trade. As we all know, Michael Porter Jr. was cleared to play basketball, but obviously they held him out for the reasons of just not messing up the chemistry, not rushing him into the game straight into the playoffs, as they're right now currently the number 2 seed and tied up with the San Antonio Spurs in what is going to be probably a pretty good series between those two. Now, whenever we look at a team such as Oklahoma City, I think that their disappointment as far as with the postseason so far, I think the fact that what you need to have around a player such as Russell Westbrook and Paul George is more three-point shooters. They have great players such as Jerry Grant, and of course can deliver draft picks as well whenever it comes to trying to make a move here. And I think the fact that if you had a lineup with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Steven Adams, Blake Griffin, you're really talking about a full-on superstar caliber team that, in my opinion, the Western Conference, and the reason why I only mentioned Western Conference teams in this entire setup is the fact that I believe so many team players, as far as max contract players, are going to be signing with Eastern Conference teams, making the Western Conference actually even out to the Eastern Conference as far as how it's been so dominant by the Western Conference so far. And of course, the last one being the Los Angeles Lakers. And of course, we know the situation there. Now, granted, I don't think that Brandon Ingram will be anything a part of a trade deal, most likely, due to the fact of his blood clot situation and that being a career-ending type of situation that I don't think they would gamble on. But they do still have great talent as far as with their other younger players. And I think the fact that as far as a young talent perspective, I think the fact that they would be willing to give that, obviously, as long as a team, as like I mentioned, a number one pick or something that the Los Angeles Lakers do have a chance to get, I don't see them trading that for somebody like Blake Griffin, considering they do have salary cap. So the only reason why I question them off would be due to the fact that they don't want to rush a trade, especially considering the fact Anthony Davis would be their most likely their first option to pursue. And I think the fact that the Detroit Pistons would try to make this move quickly. But guys, tell me what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do you think the fact that the Pistons should trade Blake Griffin, considering the position that they are at? And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to Power of the Greek Army today. And as always, this is Sparta.